everybody. Welcome to the Southern Illinoisans Pigskin Picks. I'm Scott Meese with Pete Spittler and Les Winkler. Here we are. It's the last week of the regular season, Les. This year, I guess every year flies by. You never really say, wow, I can't believe it's only week 4 or something. But your thoughts going into the end here. Some teams, I think one of the interesting things is it looks like there's a pretty good chance Herron's the only Ohio team to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
which
that's
is rare.
Benton's got a tough road game up at Carlisle, and I wonder when the last time that's been, when Benton, Harrisburg, Herron, Massac County. I mean, those are 4 pretty good traditional football schools, and Herron is the only one with a guaranteed spot right now. It's not going to be easy for Benton. Then again, you're playing that playoff points game, so nothing's for sure.
Your pal Danny Serwinski pointed out 1977 was the last year neither Harrisburg or DuQuoin made the playoffs. So it's been a while. To not have Harrisburg and DuQuoin in, that seems almost
it's almost heresy.
And you hate to say that about Harrisburg, and we'll get to their game, but some craziness would have to happen for them to beat Carbondale this year. Let's get into it, Pete. First game, Herron at AJ. It's a 2-year series, and it will not be renewed. That's kind of unfortunate. It's a neat one, I think. People would like to see, but Herron's won 6 in a row. Anna's 7-1. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, first of all, you didn't even mention Murfreesboro and possibly Murfreesboro.
They can't get in either. There's not.
I'm saying just end up with a winning record is what I'm saying.
That game's on here.
Someone wants to keep moving along. In Herron, and we talked about the Ohio, and Herron really kind of winning that conference is a big deal for them. I just think looking at this too. I mean, obviously AJ's got Jay Kemp and Damian Reed and some really nice receivers, but I just feel Herron's got the total package this year, and even though they're not renewing the series, I still got to go with Herron on this one.
Les?
Yeah, I do too. I haven't seen AJ play, so I'm kind of shooting in the dark here a little bit. But I was really impressed with Herron's strength and speed and running game. It's one of those picks, and we've had a lot of them this year, where I'm making it and thinking, yeah, you got a 50-50 chance of being wrong. But I just like the way Herron looked, and they're like Pete said, their overall package, their speed and size.
I'm going with Herron just because they're a bigger school. AJ can really score some points, and they're probably, for 3A schools, by far the most balanced team. They could have 200 yards passing or 200 yards rushing in a game. I just think Herron's going to take a lot of time off the clock with those 2,000-yard backs they've got. Basically, I think Herron will be too much. Harrisburg at Carbondale, both teams are 4-4. Harrisburg's had some injuries. They've got a new underclassman playing quarterback now. Carbondale, once again, started off 3-0. Very close, could easily be 6-2 or 7-1. They've lost a ton of close South 7 games, but I'll go ahead and I think Carbondale wins this one by a lot. They've got way too many athletes this year.
That's kind of the way I see it too. They've got a lot of speed. They have played. Harrisburg has traditionally played a very strong schedule. There's no question about that. But Carbondale, other than probably Waterloo week in, week out, has played a very, very good schedule. So based on that and the overall athleticism and numbers, I'm going to have to go with Carbondale.
I would have to agree. I mean, this is going to be Carbondale's senior night. They got a lot of quality seniors, and being, obviously the offense didn't have a great night against Marion last week, but I think the potential for, like you said, of a huge game is there, and I just got to go with Carbondale on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Carbondale. I think one of the things on Harrisburg is, they've won 6 of 7 against Carbondale, but I'd like to see Harrisburg and Carterville play every year, be more evenly matched, I think, and I don't know why this business of playing, they need to keep playing DuQuoin, but Mount Carmel, Marion, and Carbondale, I mean, unless they have teams like they had last year, they're never going to have hardly any 8 or 9 win regular seasons. I'd really like to see Carterville get in there with Harrisburg, and I think it'd be a great matchup.
Or AJ, as you mentioned, AJ will be looking for a game next year.
That would be another good one. Let's move on to the Diamond. Fairfield's 7-1, probably the 3rd best team in the Diamond, and Chester 8-0. Chester's schedule was, basically backloaded with Fairfield and El Dorado their last 2 games of the season, and so you never really know what you got in Chester because a lot of the Diamond's not very good this year. or at least compared to them. But this will be another challenge for the Jackets. But I don't think they're too good on offense, and they can throw it and run it. Chester, I think, wins this one. What are your thoughts, Les?
Chester was very impressive at El Dorado last week. They are so quick to the football on defense. I mentioned to a couple of people in the press box last week that El Dorado ran some sweeps, and their safety from the far side of the field would catch the guy within 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, or the outside linebacker from the opposite side of the field. So quick to the football, really a nice balanced offense. And if you get Brad Asselmeyer out in space, there's a kid in El Dorado still looking for his shoes on about the 30-yard line from the other night. So, and Fairfield's very good. Fairfield runs that double wing. They're in tight. They're quick. They got some speed. But Chester's overall team speed, I just think puts them above Fairfield.
And how long is the bus ride from Fairfield to Chester? Seriously.
It's about in between 2 and 2.5 hours.
Okay, yeah, that's not funny.
And you can't get from one place to the other either. That's just a really bad trip.
Pete?
Obviously, Chester's got to be smart in this game. It's senior night, chance to win their 20th straight conference game. Last year won the conference outright for the first time since '65. I can't even imagine how long it's been since they did it back to back. But with Chester, you obviously got to talk about preparation, organization, how they prepare for opponents and for games. And I got to pick Chester on that one.
All right, Murfreesboro at DuQuoin. Murfreesboro has a chance to have a winning record for the first time since the late 90s. DuQuoin will be happy to have this season over, maybe, except for the seniors. It's been a rough year for the Indians, and Al Martin won number 250 last week, so that's we won't see that around here probably unless Brett Edering coaches till he's 65. So Murphy at DuQuoin, I'll start it off. I'm going with Murphy, and I am confident in the pick. They're difficult to pick sometimes because they've got the talent and they seem to play well, but they just have some bad second halves. Should have beaten AJ this year. Probably should have beaten Harrisburg this year and should be in the playoffs, but probably not going to happen. Pete, what are your thoughts on this one?
I kind of agree. I like Murfreesboro's running backs. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen them, but they used at least 7 against Sparta. So they've got a lot of options in that backfield running the wing tee. And just, with DuQuoin being as young as they are and kind of, retooling a little bit, I got to go with Murfreesboro on this one.
Yeah, I think Murfreesboro's just bigger and stronger and probably quicker too. And, those three, you put those 3 variables together and it spells the Murfreesboro win.
All right, last game, and I really love this matchup. You got either 3A or borderline 4A Mount Carmel going to Mount Vernon. The Rams are going to be in the playoffs this year, so that's really nice to see after some tough seasons. You've got basically a 6A South 7 team that's pretty good, and then you've got a smaller school here, but a really good one. What are your thoughts on this one, Les?
I don't know. I actually forgot who I picked on this for my in the paper picks, but it is a very intriguing matchup. Mount Carmel's, if you have a broad definition of Southern Illinois, is one of the 2 or 3 premier programs in the region. Mount Vernon's kind of surprising everybody this year. I believe they were winless last year, and they played some pretty good people pretty well this year, as the 5-3 record would indicate. I think I went with Mount Vernon in the paper, so just for the sake of consistency, I'll go with them again, just on the basis of who they played week in and week out. And I know Mount Carmel plays a tough schedule of Indiana schools.
Obviously, like Les said, it's a great Week 9 matchup and the type of matchup you kind of want at the end of the season to prepare you for the playoffs. But at the same point, Darren Peach prepares his teams very well over there. They're very disciplined, and I got to go with Mount Carmel on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mount Carmel, too. This will kind of be a measuring stick. How good is Mount Carmel? If they can go in there and win by 3 touchdowns at Mount Vernon, we're going to know they're the real deal for sure this year. But I think it's a really good test for Mount Vernon, too. Normally you play in a smaller school, you're supposed to beat them, unless it happens to be one like this that's a traditional power. But I think it'll be an interesting game. And then playoff pairings are announced this Saturday, Les. Harrisburg's probably not going to make it. Murphy might be 5-4, but probably won't make it. If Benton can't beat a good Carlisle team on the road, they're not going to make it. So we will have fewer teams this year, I think, than we've had probably. And the Diamond is not going to have as many, are they?
They'll have Chester, Fairfield, El Dorado, and Vienna's already qualified.
Carmine will be in.
And Carmel,
So they will
I believe,
have
be.
5.
So they'll have 5. So yeah, when you play in that close conference, if you get to 5 and 4, you're in because you're going to have the playoff points. So it's it's been a very, very interesting season. I won't say it's been a great season. I think we've got 3 or 4 quality teams here, but it's hard to imagine more than the 2 or 3 elite teams that we rattled off making deep runs in the playoffs.
And Pete, what are we going to have in the Black Diamond postseason? I think El Dorado can win a game or 2. Chester can. Not sure about anybody else.
And that's what I've heard too, is those 2 teams being able to kind of branch out a little bit. I know the early word I've heard on Chester's maybe Staunton or Athens We've been talking about pronunciation on that. So obviously, it's an exciting time because you want to play somebody different and see what could happen, how you can move the program forward. So I'm really interested to see what happens on Saturday.
All right, that's it for this week, folks, and thanks for watching.